Joe, you talked a bit about the current paradigm and you used the term dominance. In your view, what would it take to shift the current paradigm into one that is more humane?
Well, I think it goes beyond, just a particular aspect. I think one of the things that is the problem right now is that people tend to isolate, talk about feet, for example, or talk about dominance, or talk about stalls, or the way a horse is eating, and they don't oftentimes put it together it's just one piece of a very big puzzle, and often a complex puzzle. And I think it all needs to change, and a lot of people are working on pieces of it. There are a lot of natural horsemanship people out there who are bringing lots of folks into the fold as the way horses are treated and trained. There are a growing number of natural or barefoot trimmers that are coming along to help take people, take horses off of shoes, for example. And it's happening in pieces and vectors, but it needs to happen as a piece of the whole. And I think we're all working at it in different ways. I work at it by basically telling stories. This book, The Soul of a Horse, is not a preaching book. It's a story book. It's about our journey. And hopefully it does, and I've been told that it does, do what any good fiction book would do. It lures you into the characters and makes you identify and feel for the characters and their struggles and conflicts and so forth. And the characters in this case just happen to be Kathleen and myself going through a really strange series of events, because 3 years ago, we didn't have a horse or a clue, and we thought we were nuts, with what we were finding and what we were believing. But what it comes down to in the final analysis is it's genetics, all genetics. There's no such thing as a domestic horse. There's only wild horses in captivity. And when people begin to understand that, if you bounce everything you do against the wild horse model in the way that you care for them, the way you relate to them, the way you try to train them, then you begin to get into the total picture. And it's not just a matter of feet. A lot of people think, oh, you pull the shoes and they're barefoot, good. No, it's way more than that. It's being barefoot with a trim that replicates the wild horse trim, having movement. A horse in the wild moves anywhere from 10 to 30 miles a day. They eat little bitty bits at a time for up to 18 hours a day. And their stomachs are very small, and they're meant to take forage through 12 to 18 hours a day, and that's what makes their systems work right. And they need to be out in the open where they can see predators coming, not closed up in a stall, which causes stress. And be with the herd. They are very definitely herd animals, and so all of that, and they need, their diet needs to be not sugar. Half the horse feeds that are in bags right now that people buy and use are loaded up with molasses or grain, and grain is oats have almost the same glycemic index as corn. In other words, it gets into the body, turns into sugar, and really screws up their whole pancreas and insulin systems and so forth. And it's not something they're ever going to get in the wild. And so all of that needs to be taken into consideration. And the tough part is that when you lay all that on somebody, they think that, oh my God, there's no way I can do all this. And it's really a lot simpler than most people think. It didn't take us very long or very much effort, and certainly not much money, to get them out of the expensive stalls and into the inexpensive natural pasture that they live in now, 24/7.
Great. Thank you.